Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
If you could be any age of your life for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? So on the surface, it seems like a very sort of plain question, but it's actually more nuanced than that. I thought about it for a while, and I think that I might like to be 30, which would be approximately, let's see if I could figure out, be 1992. I turned 30 with, Rodney turned 29 and I turned 30. We were on tour in Europe, in Aalborg, yes, in Aalborg, Denmark, and we had a very lovely evening that night. But that, you know, thinking about being 30, you've passed the awkward teenage years, you've worked your way through the 20s, and you're sort of like beginning to be an adult then. If I think back when I was 30, I just got married like 3 years before. And so I think 30 is the year that I would like to be. Now the nuance and the issue is that when I think about it more, so if you decide to be a certain age for the rest of your life, do all the people around you continue aging? And so, you know, this is of course hypothetical. So, you know, do you watch your friends grow old? Do you create new friends over and over again each year? It's a little more philosophical than you might initially think of the question. But thinking about it, I think maybe I'd like to be 30. I was in fairly good shape. I was mostly healthy, probably drinking too much, but but 30 is probably a good year, or a good age. So that's my answer. I think I'd like to be 30 for the rest of my life.
As for whether or not everybody else would age, I assume if you got that choice, everybody else would get that choice, which is pretty weird because if somebody decided, oh, I want to be 40 and his wife wanted to be 14, yeah, then that's a Jeffrey Epstein thing. That's kind of...
There's a grandfather clause, right?
You could be like those dudes that keep trading their wives in for a younger one. I can't think of an example of one right off the top of my head.
No, I can't either.
Orange, you confused about who that might be. I would like to be 58 if I had to pick a year, because I'm 57 right now, and Blixa from Einstein and Neubauten, who were coming to Philadelphia. That was going to be the first stop on their U.S. tour, by the way, and then COVID got in the way. Blixa once said, I don't think of myself as the young me and the old me. I think of myself as the old me and the new me. So I would like to be a year newer. I'm 57 now. I'd like to be a year newer than I am right now. And then when I get up there, maybe you get to choose every year. Maybe I'll say, you know what, I'll be 59 forever. But I like the idea of, you know, I think I become less of an asshole every year, hopefully. And I like the idea of progressing through that. You know, people always say, well, I don't want to be the oldest person at the club. I do, because at least I'm at the club and I'm easy to find. Everybody says, where's Rodney? I'd like to buy him a drink. They go, oh, it's a short old guy over there. And I'm out. If everybody at the club, if everybody decides that they want to be like 24 forever, the club is just going to be filled with people 24. I'm not going to want to go out and dance. I like when I go out to a club and I see like other older people like me. So I definitely, I have no fear of aging. I embrace it full on, much like my height. I often make myself 2 or 3 inches shorter than I actually am. And sometimes I'll make myself a year or two older than I am when people ask me. So I'll be telling them, you know, oh yeah, I'm like, you know, I'm just about 60 now when I'm 57. I really do. You should embrace getting older. Go at it.
That's great. My friend Ben and I were just talking about, I was joking. I was like, you should start a retirement home for like rock and roll stars or whatever. And I was like, you know, like the Rolling Stones. And I was like, wait a minute. No, those guys are pushing 80 and they're still like touring and stuff. That's fucking awesome.
The Damned are like, I think Captain Sensible turned 70. And if you see that, they kick our asses all over the stage. You know, there's no the bar has been raised. When I was a kid, like 30, you were pretty much dead. Like they dug a hole for you out back. You know, if you look at my parents' yearbook, those 18-year-old kids look like they're in their 40s. It's really, it's not just because it's a steel town, it's a weird steel town, but, you know, the bar gets moved. So I am perfectly fine with being a little bit older. 58 sounds like it would be kind of fun. So, yeah, I think I would progress nicely. And that is my answer.
Cool.
Originally, I was going to say 10 because I was at the top of my game when I was 10. It was a transitionary year for me. I got a new neighbor, Garth. He became my best friend. The Scots moved in other words. I saw the aliens, all these things, great things happened. But then I thought, I don't want to be stuck at 10 for the rest of my life wanting to grow up. So I changed my mind. I would, if I had to be stuck at a certain age, I don't think I really want to be stuck, but since we have to pick an age, I'm going to say 67. Because that is the age I can start collecting my Social Security benefits at their fullest. And I figured if I'm 67 forever, I got it made. I might bankrupt Social Security after a few thousand years of that. I don't know.
That's assuming that Social Security still exists when we turn 67.
Well, I'm banking on it. Yeah.
Well, I hope so. There are certain people in the world who would like to make it go away, but we'll see.
So yeah, 67. I'm hoping I'll still have good health. Maybe I'll be healthier. I don't know. Probably not. But I'm kind of happy. I'm also happy with aging. I'm with Rodney on that one. But if I have to park myself at a year, I would say 67. It's 10 years from now.
Cool. It's funny. I actually chose 30 as well. I hesitated because I was going to choose one of the teenage years, but thinking, and I started to think way too deeply into it. Like, well, if I were 41 now, and I had the choice to do it, I would have all the knowledge I have and experience I have as a 41-year-old in an 18-year-old's body. Hell yeah, I'm going to do that. But forever, I don't know. And then I also wondered, well, what about everybody else? But I was like, maybe I don't need to think that deeply into it. But I did decide on 30, thinking of my own 30, because I thought, well, what about future? I don't know what I'm going to be like, or can I be a different age as a different person? I don't know. But my 30 was great. It was, 2008 and 9. And, you know, we had just started playing pretty regularly at that point, and working on the new album, King and Yellow. And I just think, I don't know, I think, you know, I had this good balance at that point of like work, family, and the band. Things seem to be off balance now, but that's not really anybody's fault other than the world. Mostly. But yeah, I think, and like Dean, you were saying, your past, your awkward like teenage years, bad decisions. My 20s, I made so many horrible decisions, but you know, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And I made it to 30 and then 41. But yeah, I feel like that's a good like middle point. I always figured something would happen to me in my 60s, so 30 is probably like the middle of my life. And that's my story.
Do you ever meet somebody who's like 30, but they're already 60? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
No fun for me. No fun. I gotta get back. Not for me. No, and I'm like, man, just like if you could just be 60 now and give me those extra 30 years. Because I'm good. If I live to be like 100, I'm fine. But
sometimes you meet somebody who's younger and they seem like wiser beyond their years. It's kind of amazing. There's interesting people out there that just have some, like innate knowledge of the way things work, and you run into those people and they're so fascinating to run into.
I think that's because we went to unleaded gas. I'm absolutely serious about this. Once we went to unleaded gas and there's less gas in everywhere, there's less lead, I'm sorry, everywhere for real. IQs went up, murder rates went down, and I began encountering young people who totally had their shit together. You know, you would run into somebody who was like 19 and just, you know, sit on or whatever, really well read. So I always said,
when was that? In the 70s?
What?
When was that? In the 70s?
No. Well, I think we got rid of unleaded, but it took a while out of the environment. But that's why IQs have gone up, murder rate has gone down, and it's been universal. Some people will tell you, oh, crime is down because of the broken windows policy. No, not true. Or they'll say, oh, because crack went down. Well, actually, no, you know, crack use went down. Well, no, the crime rate was going up long before crack appeared. Actually,
chemtrails.
now they've gotten rid of it in the Middle East. Actually, you're beginning to see the crime rate go down in the Middle East. I'm a big proponent of the theory that lead everywhere.
And what about abortion being legal? As far as, I don't know, as an effect on crime rates. I don't know.
Well, actually, did you read Freakonomics? In Freakonomics, they make the argument that abortion being illegal causes the crime rate to go up. Now they're not.
No, I said being legal. When it became legal.
Illegal makes the crime rate go up because you have more unwanted children. If you look under Ceausescu in Romania, yes, under Ceausescu, abortions were illegal and the crime rate went up. And in Freakonomics, they make the argument. And they're saying lowering the crime rate isn't a great argument for abortions, but they're saying that where abortion is legal, the crime rate is lower.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's why you have me in your life. Because I translate where you're going. Like everybody else is just blinded by the shirt, or they can't hear you. They can't hear you over your shirt.
Joe, if you go
I think we should have more abortions.
No.
No, the Satanic Temple just came through this week with the idea of using that Religious Liberty Act to allow Satanists to jump over a lot of that stupid stuff with abortions, like listening to the heartbeat, and you have to name the baby and decorate a room. And this week that was the Satanic Temple's big announcement that they found a legal loophole for Satanists in that, which I thought was kind of neat. Wow, we went into a weird place this week.
Yay! Satanic Temple.
Yes.
Is that a recommendation?
No. Well, I'm gonna start out with a recommendation.
I'm a wise man. Whatever I say is a recommendation.
I guess we're at a recommendation point. I have one recommendation this year. This episode. It is, we've been doing some song challenges recently, and I've actually had to do some vocals and sing. And I would like to recommend, if you're ever doing vocals, and this goes for podcasting as well, you need to get yourself a pop filter. This is this one in particular that I have. It clips onto your mic stand. It's actually, let me see if I can read it. It's I think it's made by Nady. It doesn't really matter, but you can find pop filters online at any music emporium of your preference. And basically what it is, this is a double sided like mesh that you can sing through, and it stops what they call plosives, which are P sounds, and prevents the sound wave of your voice reaching the microphone and causing like a spike or a distortion in the recording. So if you're singing, or you're doing vocals, or you're even recording a podcast, it's very advisable to have a pop filter. So I recommend getting a pop filter if you're doing any kind of recording work.
I concur. Also, to get rid of a P pop, you can sometimes tape a pencil right in the right spot of so, but I recommend the pop filter. Don't tape pencils to things.
It's like if you hold it like in front of the microphone like this and you sing past it, it breaks up the sound wave, so it does not like hit the diaphragm of the microphone and cause a spike in the signal.
We shouldn't have told them that was a secret thing.
I learned something with every one of these meetings.
Yeah, you learn something. We know shit. All right, let me just check my notes and see if I can figure out where I am here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, here it is. This week it's shameless self-promotion recommendations. The first one I'm going to recommend is I have a remix on the new God Module remix album, which is the Unsound remixes. A lot of my remix is the Fears of Children remix of the song Hindsight. I've been experimenting with sounds that cause people uncomfort and nightmares. So it's a good testing zone. Velvet Acid Christ are on there. Ghost Beater on there. Absence of Faith are on there. It's really, really good. And the actual Unsound album is good. It's out now. When you're watching this, you can go get it. And you can, of course, preview everything on Bandcamp. Grab what you like or grab the whole album for like $10. But I heavily recommend that. The other thing I'm going to recommend, if you're not into Space Couch or you're not familiar with Space Couch, this Sunday would be a good time to be familiar with Space Couch. I'm the guest on Space Couch on Sunday. So it's live on Space Couch. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern. Space Couch is, of course, Brian from the Gothsicles and Gasoline Invertebrate. You know, people always go to us, why don't you guys do funny songs anymore? I'm like, because the Gothsicles have made us obsolete. The Gothsicles are funnier than we ever were. So Brian is my friend, and I'm really, really looking forward to being on Space Couch. I yell Space Couch all the time. So yeah, I'm on Space Couch on Sunday. So those right there. Can I sneak in a third?
Sure.
Okay, because you mentioned Heimbach last week. There's a gentleman who does a synth show called BoBeats. And sometimes I jokingly call him Bob Eats, but he's a super nice guy. Apparently, he'd had some substance abuse problems at one point in his life. And occasionally talks about, he's just the sweetest guy on earth. He's a guy, if you spilled something, he would clean it up before it hit the floor. It's like, no, I've got that. And apparently, he was targeted by an online bullying campaign, which is fucking stupid and a horrible thing to do. And if you do it, we can find out who you are, and we will bend your fingers back until they break in front of your whole family. But here's what I want you to do. Don't focus on that. Go find BoBeats, and we'll put a link somewhere. Go find BoBeats' YouTube channel, subscribe, and just say something nice to him. Sweet guy. I have no idea why idiots would bully him other than the fact that bullies are idiots. So
yes, I subscribe to his channel. I love his reviews of synth and stuff. Yeah, he's a great guy.
The nicest guy on earth too. It's like he's like Ken Marshall. He's like, I'm really enjoying.
He's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of me. He's got long hair and he's nice.
All right, I have two album recommendations. One's an old album, and one's a brand new one. The old one, which is new to me because I didn't listen to it till like a month ago, is Another Day in the Sun by Kathy McCarty. So if you haven't heard that yet, it came out in 2005.
That's an amazing album.
Try to hear it. It is amazing. To me, it's like a brand new Glass Eye album without any Brian songs. Although Brian sings on backing.
And he recorded it too.
And he recorded it and he produced it, so maybe that helps it. Brian Beatty is one of the Glass Eyes, and
he
so
produced three of our records. Three of our records.
Yeah, it's got 14 original songs by Kathy McCarty. They're all very good. The other one just came out. It's by a band from Philadelphia called Foxycontin. And it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you like power pop, it's like a power pop punk punch in the face. 12 songs. It reminds me a little bit of Robert Hazard and the Heroes, the A's, and maybe the Replacements. But Richard Kaufman, who sings a lot of the songs, and I guess wrote a lot of the songs, used to be in a band called Electric Love Muffin back in the 80s. And also their drummer, who used to go by the name Lance, his name's Michael, was the drummer for the band Chrissy. He's a very powerful, steady beat drummer. So it's a good band. Or it's a good album. It's called This Time You're On Your Own.
Cool.
All right. I have two recommendations. The first one is TV Magic Coloring Kit. I'm not going to say much about it. I found it anonymously.
I know that.
And if you're a fan of like Negative Land and current events, then check out TV Magic Coloring Kit.
Just do a search and you'll figure it out.
There was a YouTube clip. They have a Bandcamp.
I'm going after it right after we sign off. I need to hear that.
Rodney, you definitely need to hear it.
I need to hear that. Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to recommend is if you have the means or if you're in the area, go to the Corning Museum of Glass in Corning, New York. It does not sound like the most exciting place on earth, and it's not, but it's really cool. It was a lot, and we didn't even get to see all of it. I was there with the kids and our friend Samantha, who lives up there, and she paid for us to make these projects, which is really cool. These are wind chimes that I was able to fuse glass shards onto them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But like a third of the place is like an art museum, and some of the pieces were incredible. The one that stands out the most in my head was a head made of glass that was, when you looked straight at it, it was all these weird shapes, but as it turned and there was a light cast on it, the shadow gave a silhouette of a person's face. But as it slowly rotated, the person's face morphed into, like, so it was like an older male, and then it was like a younger female, and it was called Family, and it did like all these members of the family just by this glass head like rotating and the light cast upon it. It was like, so it was cool. It was like cool glass stuff. We saw a demonstration, but that whole area, the Finger Lakes region, Joe, you've been there. It's great. It's a nice area. No, Joe, you didn't like it so much?
No, it's beautiful.
He bought his shirt.
I think we've all been there, actually.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I've always wanted to visit the Corning. I've heard.
But I haven't been to the Corning place.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Oh shit! I almost broke the fucking glass. Okay. Yeah. So next week is.
Next week is a song challenge. Don't tell anybody what the challenge is. I want to throw my shoe at a hippie.